Okay, hello dear viewers and welcome to my channel. In today's video, I'll be explaining how to use Dev C++ to write code in C++. So, welcome to Introduction to Programming with C++. My name is Mubarak Muhammad Ali and I'm going to assist you to learn C++. Okay, if you are done installing your Dev C++, you have to launch it. And this is the first thing you're going to see when you launch the Dev C++. Okay, so we have to create a file that we are going to use. The first thing is you come to the top left corner here and you click on File. You click on New and you select Project. So this window is going to appear. So you have to choose Console Application because we are going to use the console. And you have to select the project. So we are writing codes in C++. So by default, the project is in C++. So you have to give a name to the file that you are creating. So I'm just going to type my first program. So you can give it any name that you want. So I just wrote my first program. You click on OK and you click on OK, it's the same name. So just click on OK. So this is what's going to appear to you after you have created the file. So there are some things that you have to understand before you start writing your code. Okay. So the first thing is this line. Every C++ program has this line included, so you have to include it. But when you're using the Dev C++, by default, it's going to be included for you. And this hash include IO stream. This is a header file library, okay? And it tells the processor or the compiler that we are going to use the C out and the C in. And there's another line of code that you have to include. It's also a library. So, and that is using namespace std. This is also a library. Okay, it's just shortening the form from the standard version to the common one. That is the cout. I will explain later when I'm writing the code. So you have to include this one. And this line, this is a comment. So I will explain later. This is a comment. I don't need it right now. Okay. So we have int main and we have return 0. This line of code is a function, okay? And this function is going to perform a task. So we are going to write our code in here, okay? And the function is going to perform whatever is within it, okay? So I am starting with the variables, okay? I'm not going to take long. So we'll start with the variables and then we'll write some 2 or 3 lines of codes, and that will be it for today. Okay, let me start with the comment. When you want to write a comment, there are two types that you are going to write a comment. And a comment is not going to be executed by the compiler. The compiler will just ignore the comment because it's not a line of code, it's just a comment. So it just gives clarity to our code. So the first one is // and then you type whatever you want to type. So I'm just going to type this is a comment. So this is the comment. So nothing is going to happen if I execute this program. And there's another way to write a comment, that is a block code comment /* and you type the comment that you want to type. So let me say this is a comment. You can come to the next line and type whatever you want to type. But this one is a block comment. Okay, so it has multiple lines. You can include multiple lines, but at the end you have to terminate it. Okay, so this is also a comment. So when I'm done, I have to close it the same way I have started it. So these two lines are comments, and they are going to be ignored by the compiler. So in today's lesson, we are going to learn a variables. Okay, so when we say a variable, it's just a container that is going to hold a data for us, and there are different types of variables. We have about 5 of them. Okay, so the first one is int, and this is going to store negative and positive numbers only, no decimal numbers, only positive and negative numbers as integers. Then we have the float. It's also a variable. This float is going to store negative and positive numbers or integers with decimals. Okay, this is going to contain decimals, and we have double as well. So this one also is the same, but it's going to hold multiple numbers after the decimal. So this one, I think the float is about 8 decimal fractions, and this I think about 16. I'm not pretty sure, but that's it. And we have another one that is the string. So this string is going to hold a line of code. So it could be numbers, letters, characters, but you have to include them in double quotes. I will explain later. You have to include them in double quotes. And the last one is the boolean. So bool, this is the same as boolean, and this holds only two types of it only has two values. It's either true or false. It stores two values only. It could be either true or false. And then the last one is char or car. It depends on how you pronounce it. This stores a single character, only a single character. So it could be A to Z, but only one. It's either A or B or Z, or a different character, but only one. So these are the variable types that we have. I think we have about 6. So if you want to declare, so let me use a comment. If you want to declare a variable, so first you have to know the type of variable. What type of variable are you going to create? So we need type. This is syntax. Type. Is it integer? Is it string? Is it float? Is it double? Depend on the program that you are writing. And after that, you have to give the name. That is going to be the variable name. So variable name. So you can choose to terminate if you don't want to assign a value to it, or you can assign a value to it. So value, and you terminate. This semicolon, it tells the compiler that the line of code ends here. Okay. So let's start. The first thing is integer. How are you going to declare an integer if you want to use integer? So you just type int and you give the variable name. So this is the type. Int is the type. Now I have to give a name. So I want to store numbers. So I'm just going to say numbers. So this is the name of my variable. So I can just terminate, or I can assign a value to it. So I'm going to assign a value of 12 and I terminate. So I have created this container. It's a variable, and the variable type is integer. So this number is going to hold integers only. This container is holding this 12. So that's how you declare an integer. The second one we have float. So this is decimal. So decimals, and I'm going to store 45.67. And note, you don't just terminate and you say that you are done. This is a float. No, you have to add f to it so that the compiler will know that it's a float. You are storing a number with decimals. So that's how you create and store numbers in a float variable. And we have double. Double also is similar to it. So double, so number is the same with decimal fraction. So 3.142, and you add d to it. As for double, I don't think you add d to it. That one is Java. Sorry. And you terminate. So this, the compiler will know that you are storing this 3.14 in this container of type double. Now let's come to the next one, which is the string. The string is different from the rest. So a string, they have to give a name. So let's say greetings as the name. So don't get confused just because they are the same, they are not. So this is the type, okay, the variable type, and this is the variable name greeting. So let's give it a value. Note, when declaring a string, you have to bring this double quotation, and every line of code has to be within this double quotation in order to be considered as a string. So I'm just going to say hello user, and I terminate. So I've created a variable with the name greetings, and I've stored hello user. Note that you can store numbers as well. Hello user 123. You can add characters if you want. When printing, everything is going to appear on the console the same as it, the one that is in double quotes. So everything is going to appear. Then we have the car. So name, let's say grade, and this one is only going to use a single quote. It's not going to use double quotes. So single, and then you give A. So it's grade A, and you terminate. That's it. And the last one is Boolean, and this one they must use it when you have a switch, it's either on or off or true or false. So yes, a bool and is nil, then you give it a value true. You terminate. So these are the variables. Okay, so now let's start coding. Okay, so we have the C out and we have the C in. So we are going to use the C out. C out. So C out stands for console out, and it's pronounced C out, not caught or something like that. It's just C out. So C out is when you want to print something to the user. Anything that you want to print to the user, you have to use C out. So C out, and I want to print hello dear friend. So I want to print this one to the user. Note, you can terminate or you can just use the end line and you terminate. So the difference between this end line and then the terminate, this semicolon, this one tells the compiler that this line of code ends here. So if we type another code, see out, how are you? When we run this, these two lines are going to appear in the same line. So let me just execute and run. So click on execute, compile and run. So let me just give it a name. So main already has a name, but let me override it. What is this? I'm getting an error. Okay, I didn't terminate, so I have to terminate. So let me execute and run. Okay, you see that it's only one line. Even though we have written two lines, but only one line appeared. Why? Because we didn't use this end line here. So this end line, it tells the compiler that go to the next line. Okay, don't consider this line to be in the same line. So just skip it to the next line. So this is going to appear first. Hello, dear friends, and then this one will follow. So let me execute, compile, and run. Okay, there's an error. Oh my god. You see, hello, dear friends, how are you? Two lines because we have included this end line. So note, when you want to print multiple lines, you have to use the end line. And if you want to just print in the same line, just terminate. Now let's go back to the using standard name. So I said this library help us to use the C out and then the C in. So if I omit this one and I run the program, I will not be able to get a result on the console. So let me remove it, execute, compile and run. I get an error because the compiler doesn't understand what is C out. So with the help of this, now the compiler understands that, oh, I'm going to use this C out because you have included this library here. And with this one, this std, if you omit this one and you run, an error occurred. The compiler doesn't understand this cout. So if you don't want to include the using namespace std, then you have to bring it here std standard, then you have to bring double colon. And here to the same std and line. The same thing, and then you execute, compile and run. And then you'll be able to get a result. Have you seen that? Without it, you have to include this one. In every line of code that you are trying to use the C out, you have to bring the standard before you do it. So with the help of this one, using namespace std, it help us omit this one, this line of code. Help us omit this one. So without it, so we don't have to write this one. Our code will run fine. Hello dear friend. So as I was saying, the string, you can only print the characters within the double quote. So a string greetings, and let me give the value hello user. Now I just want to print what is inside this one, so I can just bring C out. So I don't have to just bring this one and then type it again. I can just bring the greetings. Now terminate, execute, compile, and run. But I'm getting an error. So I have not terminated. Oh god. So I have to end every line of code with this semicolon. If you don't, you get an error. Compile and run. See, hello user, it has appeared, even though I just said see out greetings. So the compiler is going to look for greetings and see what is inside greetings, and then it will bring it to the user. So here I have stored this one. So I can add numbers 1, 2, 3, 4, and I can also add characters, hash, at, dollar sign, percentage. Whatever is within this double quote is going to be executed. It's going to appear on the console to the user. Everything has appeared because it's a string, so it's a line of code for characters. Now let's start with the int. Int num, simple as number, and I want to store um decimals. So let's say 3.142. I want to store this one. And earlier I've said that this integer only stores negative and positive numbers, no decimal numbers. So if I want to print this one, see out num, I will get an error. Only this 3 is going to appear. I will not see the decimal point. So let me execute, compile and run. On the console, only 3 appeared. Why? Because we have chosen integer. And integer um doesn't store decimal numbers. It only store positive and negative numbers. So let's assume I want to store a string, even though I've declared int. So hello. This one is totally wrong because integer, you are using numbers and then you want to print characters. It doesn't work like that. So I will get an error. Nothing is going to appear, or I will get an error. See, I can't store characters within a container that contains only positive and negative numbers. So it's not possible. So you have to know your data type very well. So let's say 3.142. And now I want to change this one to float. I want to change it to float. So let me put F here. And I want to print. So here everything is going to appear. But this F is not going to appear. It's just going to appear 3.142. So let me execute it, compile and run it. You see, 3.142, it has appeared on the console here. So the difference between the float and the double, even if I write double here, double, and I omit this F, I'm still going to get the same result because they are all going to store the same um, decimal numbers. So let's know the difference between the float and then. So float, how many? 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16. So there is 16 numbers after the decimal. And I have declared it as a float. So let me compile and run and see if everything is going to be printed to the console. You see, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Only 5 decimals has appeared after the point or the decimal. So let's change it to double. Let me execute. There's F. I get an error. It's a float. So I don't have to bring the float. It's still the same thing. So there's no difference between the double and the float in C++. But in Java, there are differences because one is going to store about 6 or 8 numbers after the decimal, and one will be able to store about 16. So that's the difference. So and then the character. So grade. So let me store 2 AA and see if I'll be able to get. I get an error. I can't because this one is going to store only one. Oh my god, I've not even. So see out grade. Okay. So execute compile around. I'm sure I'll get an error. I see. Still getting an error. Only one A appeared. Why? Because this character stores only one. So you don't have to store multiple characters within this one. So I hope now you are familiar with this one. So with the boolean um is Friday. Today is not Friday, so let me say false. And see out is Friday, then we are going to get a 0. Is it Friday? No. When it is false, you get 0. So execute, compile, get 0. You don't get true. So the value for false is 0, and then the value for true is 1. So true, we should be able to get 1. So that's it for the oh my god, the variables, their name, and then the data type. So I'm going to write a simple code how to declare a variable and then give it a value, and then I'll print it to the user, and then we are done for today. So the first thing is I want to print to the user that hello user, please enter your age or enter your name, then enter your age, and I'm going to display to the user that your age is this and so on. I'll just be playing with the code. So first we have string name, okay. Second, I have int age. Give me a minute, I'm coming, okay. So int age. So see out hello dear user. Then I end this one. I end this line. Now the second line, I'm going to tell the user to enter his or her name. So see out enter your name. Okay, now I want to store whatever the user enters into this variable. So how am I going to do that? So I'm just going to use get line. So this one is going to get the line that the user inputs. Then open bracket cin. I want to store it. Where do you want to store it? Inside name. Now terminate. So this one is going to get whatever the user inputs here and store it. This is cin. Store it in this variable called name. The second one, I'm going to tell the user enter your age. So that one is cout. Enter your, what the hell is this? Your age. So when the user enters his or her age, I'm going to store this one in this variable named age. Notice the difference. So C in. So here I'm going to use 2 greater than, not less than, because in, we are bringing it in, where the age. After that, I want to print to the user that whatever the user enter, your name is what they have entered and your age is what they have entered both. So that one's going to be cout. So I'm going to say your name is the name that you have entered, and you are the age that you have entered, and you are, let me say, age. Then how am I typing first? Years old. Okay, so let me go through it once again. Here I have declared a variable of type string, and the name, I just call it name. The name of the variable is name. Or I can just say um user username. And here int age. You can also say user age. But since I've used them in this line of code, I'm not going to change them. So I'm just going to leave it like that. I'm just telling you that you can just give any name that you want to the variable that you are creating. And then the second one, this one is console out. So the console is going to print to the user that hello dear user. And after that, it's going to tell the user enter your name. And the user will get a place where he will type his or her name. After that, the compiler is going to store everything in this variable called name. And then the next line is going to appear to the user, enter your age, and then the compiler will do its thing. Now let's run the code and see. Compile, execute, and run. Don't tell me I've not terminated. You have to terminate. It's been a while since I have used C++, so forgive me. Compile and run. Hello dear user, enter your name. So my name is Mohammed, but people call me Ali Baba. Let me say yes, Ali Baba. Then press enter. Enter your age. 24. Enter. So your name is Ali Baba and you are 24 years old. So this line of code, I'll leave a line here, execute, compile. So your name, age 24. So your name is Ali Baba and you are 24 years old. You can do whatever you want with the code, you can type whatever you want, but just make sure that you follow the syntax, how it is done. After every line of code, what you are supposed to do. And let me do one last thing. Then I'll end the live. You can add numbers, subtract and divide numbers, and then you can print them out. So for instance, int. So I'm going to use three numbers. So one. So this is the number one, and two, and three, and I terminate. So I have three numbers, and I want to tell the user that I'm going to add the numbers that you are inputting. Okay. So see out adding numbers. I terminate. Let me use endline. Okay, so see out enter your first number. Store this number in one, and again enter the second number. I'm going to store this one in num2, and num3 is going to be num1 plus num2. So number 3, don't just say it's num3. So num3 is equal to num1 plus num2. Terminate. So the user is going to enter the first number. I'm going to store it in this variable. To enter the second number, I'll store it in this variable. Then I'll display the result. So num3 is going to be the result. Num1 plus num2. And I'll print to the user out. See out the result is the result is going to be num3. Let me execute, compile, and run. And I didn't bring comma. Okay, execute, compile, and run. Again, see, I keep on forgetting because it's been a while since I have used C++. Adding numbers. Enter your first number. 2. Enter your second number. So 2 plus 2 is what? 4. The result is 4. Simple as that. So if you want to change here, you can just change it and make it um um multiplication, and you can just change here and make it multiplying numbers, and you go ahead and execute. Multiply numbers. Enter your first number. 5 5 times 4 is 20. So the result is 20. So you can play with the code and you do what you want with it. So after declaring this one, you can, what is this? Let me just erase everything. So int num1 is equal to 5, and num2 is equal to 11. So you can play with these numbers. So see out what do you want to do. Okay, so see out num 1 minus num 2. Execute, compile, and run. So again minus 6. 5 minus 11 is minus 6. You can add if you want to add. You can divide. So this is for division. 5 divided by 2. So it's an integer. You're not going to get a decimal number. You're just going to get, let's say, 0.2 or something like that. 0.25. 0. There's nothing like decimal because you have used int as your data type or variable type. I don't know what else you need to know. And let me think because I mean there's so many things you can do. You can just add numbers straight for it. See out 5 plus 7. And then the compiler will just do it for you and then 5 plus 7 are going to get 12. So compile, execute and run, you get 12. Whatever you want to do, just put in 5 minus 2. So, so that's it for variables. Today I said I will just do variables and tomorrow I'll continue with what am I going to continue tomorrow? I don't know, I'll think about it and I'll tell you guys. Because I don't know what is next. Okay? So if you have a question, leave it in the comment section and I'll make sure I will explain it and send it to you in your group. Thank you. It's your boy Mohammed Mubarak Ali. And see you next time. The video is going to be there and you can come and watch it again if you have missed it. Thank you so much.